Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the 141st broadcast from Yoran Alive. And we are live from Radio Shalom, Romania. Um, Capital of Romania is Bucharest. That's the city. And we are at the Jewish Community Center. So another big thanks to Adi and Sophia for helping me organize and carry out my broadcasts. We are joined today by a very special guest, a good friend from my Jewish Community Center from India, from Mumbai, India. He is a senior researcher and a children's educator. So I'm going to tell you a little bit more about our guest today, who is Hillel Avaskar. Hillel has worked with global information technology organizations like Accenture, Capgemini, and Atos on various global projects. A member of research group on natural language processing and AI, artificial intelligence. His focus now is to train the young generation in systematic thinking via computer programming. He's actively involved in teaching kids to program via remote sessions. Currently has students attending his sessions from India and the US. Hillel is a product of the Mumbai University and holds a bachelor's in engineering and a master's in finance. Wow, that's a pretty impressive CV, I must say. Hillel, good evening, namaskar, erev tov. Welcome to the show. How are you?
Good evening to you, Iran. So nice of you for introducing me onto this show, and thanks to you for organizing this broadcast. It's really good to bring the community together, and have people talk to us.
I'm so glad that you could be part of it. And after all that I mean, it's from the little that I have seen, very frankly, with you and your daughter on LinkedIn and what she's doing. I said, this is definitely a topic that I would like to get on the broadcast and get you here so we could get others interested and see how that is. So before we dive into the topic, and Hillel, I know this is your first time. So tell us a little bit about your journey, about how you are, where you are currently.
Okay, so I currently work with an organization, an IT organization, uh, wherein I'm still working with global clients
Mm-hmm.
to for delivering their IT systems. We do development into various technologies, um, and apart from that, I'm teaching the young generation. But my
Mm-hmm.
journey has been into the computer field from right from the childhood. Like when I was in my school, I started collecting this. There was a magazine called Electronics for You, which had a very they used to have a small code out there, and that was my journey with where it triggered out that I should do programming. So it was long back in school time.
I see. I see.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So currently, I understand that you are a researcher, senior researcher, and like I just read through your bio, you're saying you're doing research. You're with a group on natural language processing and AI, artificial
Right.
intelligence. Can you tell us a little bit about your current findings in this? Give us a
Yeah.
little intro into it.
Sure. So what I'm doing currently is, from a research perspective, I was working with the AI group in one of the leading companies, and post that, what I have done is I have a group of people wherein we talk every week and
Mm-hmm.
determine what we have to do next for the natural language processing. We are doing an analysis of an exhaustive uh, chat system wherein
Okay.
we are trying to figure out if we can find data like what's happening within the chat. There are many functions that are available in the natural language processing, but we are going beyond. So I am also I've also started to build hands into natural language processing, where they are helping me out to figure out whether we can build new algorithms into NLP. That's what.
Okay. Okay. So for a person like me, even though I have had computer science as background for a bachelor's degree, um, can you tell us what is natural language processing?
Okay.
I mean, what does that mean?
So, Yoran, you and me, we speak in a very a language where we understand what we're trying to speak to each other, right? We're
Okay,
communicating.
right. Mm-hmm.
But what happens with a computer? Computer does not understand. It just understands the bits and bytes and stuff like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
It understands numbers. So what we try to do is put all that language into numbers and vectors and basically work out with all those computations with the numbers to figure out you know whether how old are you, or you know
Okay.
what is your age. So how
Oh, you're
would
asking
I
me?
understand these two sentences are similar, right? Because it is a total
Oh,
different set of words.
so let's hear those questions again. Say it again. Let's hear the questions once again.
How old are you,
Okay.
right? And what is your age?
Uh-huh. So you're
There
saying
are
these are
two different set of words, but they are asking the same questions. how
okay.
would
Okay.
you how would the computer understand that you are asking the same questions with a different set of words,
I
right?
see. I see.
So we work a lot with the numbers, we work a lot with stats, we work a
Mm-hmm.
lot with matrices, and there is a lot of calculus involved within that.
Wow.
This is the first time that I've used calculus in my programming languages where we are doing all this research.
Okay. It already seems to be quite a heavy topic for me, but for people and for kids and for
Yeah, it is.
adults or anyone that is interested, I'm sure this must be a piece of cake. But so I see now your focus, as I was going through, your focus is on training young generation in systematic thinking, like you said, through computer programming. So Hillel, at what age are you focusing on to start with in children with this?
So, Yoran, I started teaching children. Uh, when I started, I had children at age of 10 and 11. But now I have realized that children of age 6 onwards can also understand how to think systematically or
Mm,
in a process.
I
So
see.
I think 6 onwards is the right age.
Wow, that seems like a pretty young age. So my next question at this point would be, what are the tools at that age that you are using to incorporate it into a child, to make them understand systematic thinking, or maybe they're not logically thinking about it, right? But and that too through computer programming. So please, Hillel, take the mic, elaborate a little bit, and I'm sure there are people out there as interested as I am.
Okay. Yeah. So thanks, Yoran.
Yeah,
So
go on.
what I do is, there are storylines that I play. Okay, uh, children understand stories in a better way. Like then I would put up in a computer program. I would like to put up in a story. Okay, like a
Okay.
simple thing, the thirsty crow, right? What does the thirsty crow do?
Yeah, I remember the
Right?
story. Right, right.
Correct. Everybody knows the thirsty crow.
So let's
It's
give them a background, right? So there is a jar which is not full of water, but the crow cannot reach that water. So he goes, finds pebbles, put pebbles in it, so the level of the water rises, and then he can drink the water.
Yeah, so
Is the
that's
story?
how we teach them how to loop, right? How to go again and again into the same things, to do again and again, uh, to pick up the stone and put it in the pot, right? How do we teach them looping? If I teach them in a programming language, it would be very dry for them. But if we put up in a story like stuff, it becomes very easy. A similar example would be like, you have a nail and you have a hammer, and you just have to nail that hammer in the wall, right? So probably you will
Okay.
have to hit it hard, right? Probably 5 times or 6 times, and then you stop. So this is how they come to know, like, when to stop a program also when you're looping.
Now, okay, so the interesting, okay, I got the theoretical part, right? So you're using story to put it into programming, and here we are. You have given me the example of using the rhetorical loop that is used, right, to writing a program.
Yeah.
What is the connecting link? How do you put it into programming at the age of 6? in a
Okay.
6-year-old's mind, or what do you do exactly?
Okay. So, Yuran, I am using a MIT developed tool called Scratch, and that tool, I was very fascinated when I looked at it. Right,
Mm-hmm,
it
mm-hmm.
was like it had all the blocks of programming, like the if conditions or the loops, and all that was needed to write a program. But the good part about it is, the output is an animated picture. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and all the programming language that you put up is like Lego blocks, right? Just pick it up and join them. So
I
that
see.
becomes very interesting. Children are fascinated by Lego, and that's
So
what
was I.
that's
Okay,
what.
okay. So we will touch on that topic a little later, and before we, I would want to go through the questions that we wanted to talk about during the session. So I just want to welcome once again everybody who's on the show with us. I'm with Hillel Avaskar from Mumbai, India, and we're talking about teaching kids to code. And we are at this moment we are even talking about a 6-year-old who can get interested into coding. So Hillel Avaskar is a children's educator and a senior researcher. So if you have any kind of form of questions, any queries that you might have, feel free to come directly to the page You Ran Alive and get to the broadcast chat, write in those questions, and I will see that I can take it up with Hillel on your personal queries. So what exactly, so Hillel, coming back to today's topic about kids learning to code, how has life really changed for the kids today?
Mhm.
So what is this? I know we are going through this exponential technological change. Obviously, with the current crisis, leaving that out, I mean, we always will have crisis, but how has that changed for our generation today, for the younger generation?
Okay. So, Yuran, I would like to put some perspective behind this. I would like to take you a little back in history. Like,
Definitely.
yeah. So, it was around 1750, where we started our industrial revolution. Okay. Um, 1957 is when we launched our first satellite into the space,
Mm-hmm.
right? Uh, what has happened after that is 1976 we got the first personal computer in doing the right computing. uh, Post that, we had a shift in computing with World Wide Web coming in and Google coming in 1998, right?
Right.
That changed the entire perspective of the industrial kind of a stuff that was happening. We are trained in a fashion that our education system trains us in a fashion or in a straight line, wherein we are a product to be a part of an industrial company. Okay, now
Okay.
things have changed with data. Everything that can be automated is getting automated, right?
True.
So what are the jobs left out for you, right?
I think
So
so. I
yeah,
wouldn't even know, but even the manual labor jobs today are being taken over by computers or by robots, right?
exactly,
So what is
exactly.
so maybe we will in 100 years time we will be philosophers, thinkers. I don't know. Maybe that's how things were. Maybe
Yeah,
hundreds
you're
of
right.
years
So that's
ago.
what, everything that can be coded will be coded. It's inevitable.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
It's inevitable.
I can
But
see where this is going, but okay.
we have done a
Right.
phenomenal job in last 20 years doing coding, right? So
Mm-hmm.
what we see is the technological change that is coming to the kids is much faster than what we could think today. Okay, they are going to have to make a shift in their thinking of being an out of box thinker, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
not only about doing their job today, it's about innovation, it's about making a social impact with your innovation. That's what's going to happen in their arena.
So sorry, I hope I'm not stopping you.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, so So my point was, it's very good to have the out of box thinking. The question is, is today's education system giving that to today's child, the opportunity to really think out of the box, to learn and think new? Like you and I know, Hillel, that we were obviously, most of us, we are given a curriculum, textbooks, read, rattofy, sikho, ratta maro,
Yeah,
which means you keep mugging, you keep learning that information, and you just vomit it out on paper, right? For the
correct.
exam. Has that system of education changed? Do you see that change?
I have not seen much changes because
Mm-hmm.
currently also if you look at the education system, it still goes with rankings and gradings and systems like, you know, uh, pass and fail and marks, which is not going to give any um, output as a child to understand that, you need to do innovation, right? When you talk about innovation, there will be 50 people who would be saying, hey, you're mad, right? Don't think about this. Right?
Mm.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But there are very few people who would really motivate you to do things that you think out of the box, right?
So
And that's not happening in the education system yet.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So what would be, if you can advise parents with children at that age or even younger who will soon be 6 and 7 and growing up, following a certain systematic educational system that they're going to, how to incorporate this right to learn something that they feel that's different? What would be your approach? Maybe you
Right.
can give it from your own family experience.
Yeah. One thing is, Yoran, there are a lot of books that are available, right? Uh, you have to surround kids with books.
Mm-hmm.
Parents need to understand that you don't necessarily have them to read it, right? You just have to surround them with books,
I see.
knowledge, right? At certain point of time they are going to go through it, okay,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because they are surrounded with such an you know passion. So same
Very
goes with
interesting.
people, right? Yeah, go ahead, Rihanna.
No, no, I was just saying it was very interesting. Please continue, Hillel.
Yeah.
I will ask you, but continue.
So same goes with you, right? As a parent, you have to surround them with innovation. So you yourself have to do some certain things, or try to learn new things in front of them, right? That is
Mm-hmm.
what they see. You are an example for them. You have to set an example for them. So so what I started doing is, I started experimenting with lot of microcontroller devices like Raspberry Pis, Arduinos, RD1s, whatnot. Okay, maybe that was not my area, but I tried exploring that. Today, with that Raspberry Pi, I was able to, figure out Scratch, and that is
Mm-hmm.
what I tried to educate my younger daughter, Keren, and she is doing phenomenal.
That's fantastic. We will definitely touch upon Karen's advancement with the current topic that you spoke about. So let's before that, let's go a little back and talk about, as you said, surround them with books, which I think was a fantastic, with a fantastic point, because you're absolutely right. I mean, even though I was really not interested in reading,
Uh-huh.
but I did, out of curiosity, at least start
Yes,
looking into the kind of books that were there,
exactly.
and probably at that point, with all, my dad had a lot of National Geographic books, and I believe through that I possibly got interested in being a photographer. I don't know, but maybe there is a certain truth. But the question here is, doesn't the the digital advancement or the digital tools that we have today a good replacement for the books?
They are, they are, but the love you have for books, right? When you are surrounded with books, you
Hmm.
have your own space. You can carry them anywhere. I know there are a lot of tools that are available, right? You have iPads, and you have Amazon readers and stuff like that
Right.
that come up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You can still carry them, but when you touch a book, you see the pictures. Probably you might not become a good in that particular area, but at least you would become a cartoonist seeing that cartoons in those
Right.
books, right? So they really touch your heart. When you touch a book, they really
Mm-hmm.
touch your
It's something, maybe also something got to do with more physicality, where you're able to feel what is there around you.
Yes,
Being human, I think so. That's primary. So probably there is some truth in that as well.
exactly.
Okay. So about kids. So before I continue, I just want to say to everyone, hi again. I'm with Hillel Awaskar from Mumbai, India, a senior researcher, children's educator. We're talking about teaching kids to code. If you have any kind of questions, queries that you might have regarding maybe your own child or your own scenario, write them down here on the chat from my page, You Ran Alive, and I will take it up to Hillel and we will address those questions together. So Hillel, let's continue and let's talk about programming for kids. So
Hmm.
I understand that you said building a systematic thinking is got to do with that. And what is that exactly?
Okay, so um, I would like to put up an example of how I would try to build an systematic thinking, right? What I do ask kids is, you know, what is the process for having, let's have dinner, right? What is the
Mm-hmm.
process for having dinner? So the answer generally would be um, mom would cook the food. We would arrange the table. We'll get
Table,
we'll get the
the
plate.
salad maid, maybe help mom in cutting the onions and
Yeah,
tomatoes, lay out the table, put the spoons and forks. I mean, I suppose that
right.
would be the answer. Am I missing out on anything? Oh, get dressed, have a shower before. I remember that. Haath dhoniye. I mean, go wash your hands and come. But I'm sure it's also taking a shower.
Yeah.
This is what I
So
remember.
then,
Go take a bath.
yeah. So then, I would ask them where would the vegetables come from?
Where would the vegetables come from?
Yeah.
Okay, so that
You
would
would
come
have
from
to,
the vegetable guy, I suppose, like the
yeah. So
bhajiwala, as
you
we call
you
it in
you would
India.
have to you would have to go to the vegetable market. We'll have to
Right.
buy it, right? And
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you can't you can't cook food without your raw materials, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right. So you have to go to the vegetable market. You have to take money. You have to buy those vegetables. You have to come home.
Mm-hmm.
You have to wash, right? You have to wash those
Wash the
vegetables,
fruits, yes, especially today. But
right?
yes, absolutely
and
correct.
and and then I ask them, or probably I tell them, right? I would take the process off of washing the vegetables. Would you eat the food, right?
It depends. So you're asking the question whether the child, I mean, you're asking the question to the child whether the child will eat the vegetable if it's not washed. That's what you said.
Yes.
Okay,
So
so probably
so
she
that's
would say, he
where,
would say no. Mm-hmm.
yeah, so probably he would say no, right? And this is where, this is how they think. If I miss a process in a system, right, things are not going to be right. Things will not be in the place where it has to be, right? So this is how I try to teach them. With each process has to be done in a particular fashion,
Mm-hmm.
reach to its goal, right? So if you don't do that, and if you take out one process, you're not going to meet your end goal. So that is what I try to build within them, that what is a system. Buying your vegetables is one system, you're washing your vegetables is another system,
Mm-hmm.
preparing the food is another system, cutting, preparing, and having the food. There
Okay.
are five systems. They are all connected and they are communicating with each other with vegetables or the raw
Mm-hmm.
materials. They are
Mm-hmm.
passing
Mm-hmm.
down from one system to another. Right. This is how they try to. This is how I try to put up. And
Okay.
yeah,
So then, now that you've given them this example of having different systems, whether it's for vegetables, from where it comes from to getting washed to cut and how you cook them, to maybe also laying out the table from where you get the table. So there are different systems. Now, how do you incorporate that to the child into programming or
correct.
into a programming language?
So what we do, Uran, is when we have this entire system, we have objects involved, right? So
Sorry, I didn't hear you clearly.
yeah, so what we do, Yoran, is can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So what we do here, Yoran, is for every system we have objects involved, right?
Mm-hmm.
Each system has objects. Like
Okay.
going to the market, you'll have to have your car, you'll have to have money, you'll have to have a basket. Um, you have to come back, you have to have a bowl to wash the uh, vegetables. So this becomes all your variables or your objects.
Okay.
So they need to understand what your objects are. Even if you take a sofa set in your house, that is an object which has predetermined you know sitting, right? You might have three sittings or two sittings or five sittings, right? So they have to understand what is the capacity of every object. Every object has a capacity or a length or a measurement. So they try to understand with those examples, like every object would have a certain measurement. And then once they understand the object functionality,
Mm-hmm.
they would be well prepared to put those together into a process.
Okay. Okay. Fantastic. Okay. Thank you so much for that. I'm actually trying to learn and understand with you as a child would, I believe, or maybe children would get it even much more better than me. It's like they would say, cut the crap, we got this. Let us already do this. So I do understand that one of the things you pointed out was kids always have an out of box ideas that may surprise you. Now, why was this point mentioned?
Yeah. So this was like 2 weeks back. Uh, I would take a example of my younger daughter Keren. So we she helps me during the sessions as well, like she would try to prepare material for me for presenting, that too in scratch. But that day, she did a program for color sensing. I think she had learned that on scratch itself. And for that color sensing, how that music would come out with that color sensing, she has she devised a system. And then she took your uh, color boxes, and with those color boxes she tried to generate a music out of it. That really surprised me. I
Wow.
tried to google it out, like music with a color system. I
Mm-hmm.
was not able to find anything on the Google. So this is a surprise, right?
Make it a patent already where she can build on it. But that's fantastic.
Right, and
Wow.
that's what I'm trying to say, right? You don't have to build patent, but you have to educate people that you can do much better, right? And we have to get out of that competition mindset. We have to get out of that competition mindset and come to a point where you drive innovation.
So this is a very good point. Sorry if I'm stopping you, Hillel, but it's a very good point where you say where you have to stop this competition mindset. And I know being in India, even during our time, there used to be a huge competition, right? Forget our parents' times where you just have metric pass, or you just finish your SSC and you would get a job, or maybe a little later HSC and you become a bachelor and you get a job. Today, it's like it's that point some percent that is so important to get into a certain kind of a degree school or a certain field as a engineer or a doctor. Hilal, how do you manage not to have this pressure on your child or not to put this pressure on her?
Yeah. So from my side, like I always tell my kids, okay, do whatever you want, right? But there are two sides of the coin, right? We have
Right. Okay. Okay.
so I have my wife, she would keep on telling my kids, right? You have
Hmm.
to get educated. But I would rather tell them, like, you have to develop your skills, right? Because tomorrow, no one is going to look at your certificate. Everybody is going to look at what you're doing, what you are capable of, and what is your skill, right? Skill
Right.
would be the only determining factor of you getting employed, or
Hmm. Hmm.
your skill can generate something new ideas and new innovations.
Okay.
I
Okay.
would take back Yuran. I would take back a little. I would take back a little to you with
Please.
that skill-driven stuff.
I couldn't hear you clearly. Can you repeat that again, Hillel? Sorry.
Yeah. So I would like to talk about being skill-driven. This
Okay.
was
Mm-hmm.
being devised by Adam Smith in 1700s. Adam Smith is the father of economics. He devised that learning a skill and working on that particular skill would take you to a certain level where you start doing automations because you will start improving yourself.
Mm-hmm.
This was in his books right in 1700.
Wow. Wow. So, Hillel, besides Karen, now, first of all, do tell us how old is Karen?
Keren is 11 now.
I see. I see. And the out of box idea that Karen had, have you had any similar experiences with the other students that you're teaching?
Yes, I do have. Like, there are incidences where, they would, uh, I would tell them like, I want to have this assignment done, and they would come with a very different idea,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
That would surprise me, and they would bring it to me. Like, I changed this idea, and I'm all for it because I want
Okay.
to see that they think differently than
Right.
what I think. I'm old timer right now.
Yeah, that's absolutely fantastic. I mean, coming back to the fact where you're actually thinking about, you have a rat race to get. You have to get high marks. You have to get good grades, and here you are, and you're saying, don't pressure your child. Let them have the capability to think different. And I think that does come without to without pressure on the child's mind or the body for him to able to think uh, without pressure. I don't know if I'm putting this right, but I'm hoping I'm saying the right things here.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
exactly. You're right.
Okay.
That
Cool.
mind shift has to be happening. Like you have to make that shift.
Mm-hmm.
Output driven, innovation driven, skill driven,
Right.
not
Right.
marks.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. So let's go a little ahead, and we had started talking about the developed tool called Scratch by MIT. Right. It's a methodology. What exactly it is? Give us a little bit of information on this.
Yeah, so they have built an ecosystem, and that is what we talked about earlier as well, right? The tool gives you all the tools that are needed for programming. You can just drag those blocks,
Mm-hmm.
right? Put it together like the Lego blocks, one over the another, okay? And your output is an animated picture, okay, or a story, or you can build a story out there
Mm-hmm.
uh, based on that particular program, right? So it's it's more of a entire ecosystem where you have your programming language within the block like the Lego blocks, and an
Okay.
output system where you see an animated um, you know kind of a video.
And
So
just for people to know, what does MIT mean? What is the full?
Massachusetts Institute of Technology.
Come again? Sorry.
It's Massachusetts Institute of Technology. It's the US university.
Okay. Okay. Cool. So, if somebody wants to get hold of this tool, where exactly can they find it?
Yeah, they can look into the MIT site. Just look for Scratch MIT. It's freely available.
Okay.
There is a whole bundle of training material as well.
Okay. So I'm kind of doing a Google search so I can actually just find the page and put it out there for the people. So I see it is scratch.mit.edu. Is that the one?
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay, so if people want to access that, I would be it'll be amazing. So they can have a look at this site and see exactly how it functions. And any particular reason you suggest this tool?
Uh, Kids at a level of like at from the age of 6, right? they are more, they want to see something like, uh, working output, right? They want to see animations, they want to see
Okay.
pictures, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is one which gives you that output, right? And if I go back to an higher level language like Java or Python or C,
Mm-hmm.
probably you might not be able to see such outputs. It would be a very dry topic for children to work on. We can still teach them, but it would be a very dry topic for them.
I see. I see. So this is more spicy, more engaging, more alive.
Yeah, more engaging.
Nidhi, okay. So while I
They
was searching
enjoy,
for,
they enjoy a lot. Like, you just have to teach them some basic stuff, and then probably they are not going out of their machine, right? I've seen parents saying that, you just taught them this today, but the entire night that kid has not, left the machine. Like, he's still working on it. I
it's
don't know,
like
like, what's
it's
going on
it,
there, but
I see. So are the parents happy or are they upset regarding the fact that he has not left the screen and been on screen 10 hours straight?
no,
Right?
they are
Like,
happy, Uran. Uh, Generally, what parents are looking for is a mindset to be developed, a programming mindset to be developed. We are
okay,
not developing a full-fledged programmer, right? At the
I
age of 6,
understand.
you
Cool.
are developing the mindset
Mm-hmm.
of how to think systematic, how to think programmatically.
Okay.
Because when they are going to get on their age where they are going to do their jobs,
Mm-hmm.
right, they are going to get into all this kind of stuff.
Okay. While I was searching for the program, by the way, Hillel, one of my good friends, Nidhish, posted the link. I also posted the link, but I deleted it because I wanted to give kudos to Nidhish for that. So, Nidhish, thank you so much for putting
Thank
up the
you.
link and being part of the conversation. If you have any experience, Nidhish, from your family, from your kids regarding this, please write into the chat so others can get an on-hand recommendation from the program itself. Besides the fact Hillel and me are kind of promoting it, but it would be fantastic if you could write something regarding the same, if you do have any kind of experience. But thank you so much for that. So I am with Hillel Avaskar from Mumbai, India, senior researcher and child educator with me. If you'll have any kind of questions and queries on today's topic of kids learning to code, this is the place, this is the time on the broadcast from my page, Yo Ran Alive, and you can put it on the chat right there. So yeah, that's my page, how I call it. I was just thinking about how did I come up with this page, right? Anyway, I will tell
You
you.
have always been innovative, huh, you run.
Sorry, come again.
You have always been innovative since the time I have
Well,
known you.
like you said, sometimes it comes with a price, right? So before I was not really working, I had all the time in the world, and that's how I kind of thought about it. So one used to say, "Yo, run for your life," and that's how I came up with "Yo ran alive." And there were others that used to tease, "You're on, you're off, you're on, you're off." So
Okay.
it was yeah, a very creative name, I must say. Thanks to my parents to that. So yeah. Anyway, getting back to topic. Hillel, is there a particular age where you suggest parents can look into this for their child, or it's no age, or it's like 6 plus, as you mentioned before?
It's 6 plus. You should start looking at it,
Okay, and why is there a particular reason why 6 plus?
because they start understanding, how the systems work, right? What's happening at around them, right? What
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
what are the
In the
objects
everyday
around them?
life that you wanted talking
Yeah,
about,
they,
right?
they start
Okay.
understanding that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I see. Over here, Nidish is sharing with me, saying that me and my daughter tried codemonkey.com in the past. Do you have any experience, Hillel, about this?
No, I have
Okay,
never worked on code monkey.
I see. So, Nidish, do write in. Do tell us how it is. If you can write it down to us, it'll be fantastic. But thank you so much for sharing that as well. Okay, so let's move on to a little more interesting part, where you actually have results from your own daughter using Scratch. It was my fault, Hillel, and I'm very sorry about that. And I apologize even to the viewers that I should have told. We should have prepared a share screen where we could actually see what you're talking about and get the engagement of the viewers to the program. Maybe we'll try that on another broadcast. It would be really
Sure,
interesting.
sure.
But that's really kind of you. But till now, for now, can you give us a little insight into the kind of research or what she's playing around with the tool?
Okay. So what I've seen now is Iran. One is like Keren has started helping me in producing all my material that is required.
Hmm.
Uh, Generally, I used to do this on the PowerPoint presentations, but now we have shifted completely to Scratch. Okay, because you could have a animated stuff going out there. So I'm trying to prepare it. You know, have the presentations done in Scratch because they are programmable. You can explain the kids in more animated fashion. So she has started helping me out there professionally. Okay, that's one. Um, any monetary benefits that I'm getting out of teaching, I've been sharing with her. So that's what I've been doing and trying to motivate her. Other thing that she is trying to devise is a system where a program, probably a child's play from a scratch perspective, but she is trying to write a program where you can she can take in inputs and translate that for you. I know Google Translate does it, but writing your own program, yes, why not? She's trying to do
Hmm.
that.
I see. I see. Okay, so that's really good. I would, like I said, on a future broadcast, I would really like maybe you both to come on and give us some live demo and see how we can take it from there. I was interested, and I'm still interested to do a kind of a series with children, and with the kind of a topic saying "born for greater things," where one of them would be your daughter and telling that she's doing something completely different, and it would be really motivating for others to come and even
Right, right,
learn from that, take it up into their own lifestyle, and probably
correct.
somebody else that would like to come and share with us their own child in what they are excelling at. So that would be really good to have Keren in a future broadcast. So let's think and see how we can plan that.
Yeah.
So I understand, coming back to you at the moment, Hillel, I know and I understood that you are teaching kids online to program. How do you manage to do that? You have a family, you're working. How do you fit this in?
Okay. So I teach only on Saturdays. So that's very,
Uh-huh.
that's the schedule that I have.
Okay.
All my meetings are scheduled for the online sessions. Weekdays are work days, so there is, there is a clear segregation between work and what I've been teaching. Sundays is mine, so I don't get into teaching because that's the day where I learn, right? Learn new things.
Right.
Sunday is completely for me to learn new different things, come up with ideas, come up with different areas. Other thing is, I've been promoting what I'm trying to do is through LinkedIn or through Facebook or through people that I know. I've been
Hillel,
connected.
I'm so sorry. Please, can you repeat that because there was a delay there was a technical audio delay. Please, can you
Okay,
repeat? Yep. Thank you.
yeah. So currently, what I'm doing is through my connections on LinkedIn or Facebook, or to people that I've been known to, during my tenure of my experience.
Mm-hmm.
I've been working with them to have their kids, move on to programming. Also, there's a word of mouth that goes around.
I see. I see. And how can one get registered, or how can one parent register their kid for these training sessions, which I understood is every Saturday?
Yeah. So you're on. You know, Generally people do message me on LinkedIn, and that is where I take the discussion from.
So,
I don't have any specific site where we have any kind of a registrations. uh, uh, but that's the way I do it.
I see. And do you have a number of people at a time that you're teaching, or it's just one on one?
Mostly it's one-on-one, but I've started doing it with multiple people now together. So I'm giving
Okay,
it a try. Yeah,
I see. I
and
see.
it's working.
Okay, and do need do is it how does it work with payment, or is there a payment form over here?
Okay, Yoran. So coming back to the payment stuff, right?
Yeah.
Uh, uh, I had told you earlier as well, right, that we have been out of that industrial age. Okay, we should not have competition, and
Hmm.
the payment system brings in competition as well. I am an impact of that,
I
because
can
what
agree to
happened
that.
with me
True.
was, you know, you just don't have money to get into a very good college, right? So
Hmm.
what I have been doing is I've been telling parents to pay whatever they can, but they have to pay me something monthly,
Okay,
because it has to be two ways. Even if they say that I'm going to pay you 1 rupee or $1, that is fine a month.
hmm,
And people are really generous, they pay well. I've been using that to teach another kids who are not able to pay,
I can
and
totally
that
understand.
model goes really well. Okay.
Okay, okay. And I think that's a fantastic, that's a very noble approach, Hillel, and kudos to you on that. And that's really awesome. How many hours on Saturday is the training?
uh, uh, Now I spend almost around 4 hours,
Wow.
4 hours of training,
Mm-hmm.
and then I have another 2 hours to 3 hours of preparation.
So
Very, yeah.
so in this 4 hour training is just one training, or there are different batch of students that you're training in these 4 hours?
Okay, so I have four different batches that are going on
Aha,
currently.
Okay. I understand. I understand. And the different batches are like me, according to their IQ, according to how they're getting along, like beginner, intermediate, advanced, or is it different programming set of subject?
Okay. So what I try to do is separate kids, like which are you know 10 onwards, to have in one batch,
Mm-hmm,
and then
mm-hmm.
if they are 6 onwards, I would try to teach them one on one, because they have their own stories to get along, right?
Right,
So they
right,
would say,
absolutely.
okay, I don't want your cat to be on my screen. I want a Barbie doll, right? Or I want a,
Okay,
they
okay.
have their personal inclination to having an output.
I
So I
understand.
try to bring their ideas onto the output.
Okay, that's good. Okay, that's absolutely fantastic. So, if anyone out there that's listening in, I'm with Hillel Avaskar that is actually giving programming lessons, coding lessons for children. And if you're interested, write into the chat, or you can directly reach out to Hillel Avaskar from the connection of the event as well as the broadcast, as he is tagged in. If not, just reach out to me, and I will see that I lead you to the leader, and he will probably arrange a proper session for your child. I understand, Hilal, that you are training also kids from the US. Now, how do you manage that? Because there is a tremendous time difference here.
Yeah. So I have the evening sessions going on Uran. Um, so there are kids from Louisville. There are kids from Charlotte.
Mm-hmm.
So I manage them in the US time zone.
Okay, okay, lovely. So, just that you guys know that I am with Hillel Avaskar, and we will be pretty soon ending the live broadcast for today, but the broadcast will still be on the page You Ran Alive. Definitely look into it, go through it. You can also put in your questions. Don't worry, I will get the notification about the same. So you can always put in your questions even later on. Hillel, before I say thank you and for the wonderful information and the approach that you have given us to our future generation, any words of wisdom, any closing words that you would have for us or for parents with the children
Sure,
of young
sure, Uran.
generation?
I do have. you know, I think we covered that earlier as well. Do not force your children to be in a competition, in a rat race. Try to, surround them with things, with which are more towards an innovation side, towards doing new. Do it yourself so that you become an example for them. That is what your idea should be, right? You
Mm-hmm.
keep on doing that, your kids are going to pick up today or tomorrow. Probably they would pick up in a very different field, but they are going to do what you are doing. You are in reflection. You are an example for them.
Thank you for sharing that, Hillel. I think that's really nice. But what I see today, the world has become so fast, and probably people don't have time. And I think what you're saying here is try to come out of that rat race, try to make time for your child, and be the example. Do you so is there any other way where one can find the potential of the child without really being able to be an example, or maybe the parent doesn't have time for that? Is there any other way where one can encourage the child to try something different, or example is the key? How do you say?
Yeah,
Practice what you preach.
example is one of the key, but there are uh, people around, with this pandemic, you are seeing a lot of sessions going around. Expose them out to those sessions, but don't overdo it.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, that would also be a problem, because there would be so many different things out there in this pandemic. So be aware of what you are exposing your kids to. um,
Absolutely.
that's what I would like to say.
Absolutely.
There
Okay,
are
Hillel.
tutors.
Sorry. Go ahead, please.
There are good tutors out there available. Reach out. Everybody is ready to help. You have brought this world from point A to point C. Ensure that they are at point C so that they can take it further. Okay, don't
Mm-hmm.
make them
Mm-hmm.
start at point A again. You have to pass on.
Pass on the knowledge. Yeah, this is what I totally agree. um Everybody knows something that you don't know. There's someone that knows something that you will not know, so always be ready to listen, to be humble, to be tolerant to different points of views. So Hillel, um thank you so much for coming on the show, on the broadcast.
Thank you.
I'm really glad to have you here. I want to re-emphasize this. I want to definitely have a show again, hopefully with your daughter as well, and to show us live exactly with a screen share of exactly what you are doing, so that people can have
Yeah,
a look and get interested with that. For people that are on the broadcast at the moment, there are links put up by Nidish Abraham, who is a good friend, regarding Scratch as well as Code Monkey. So go through them, have a look. If you all have any kinds of questions, feel free to reach out to Nidish on Code Monkey, or as well as Scratch. And of course, last but not the least, of course not me, reach out to Hillel Avaskar, where he
yeah,
will be able to guide you and may probably help you out on how you can expose this to your children. So
sure.
on that note, Hillel, thank you so much once again. It was a great show. Thank you so much for coming on. My love to the family and to your child, and I hope to see you again.
Thank you, Uran. And thank you, Nitish, for pointing that out, Code Monkey. This Sunday I'm going to explore that out.
Fantastic. So from everybody out here, thank you for coming and joining on the broadcast. I hope to see you again pretty soon. Till then, Bunasera, Erev Tov, Fir milenge, and take care. We'll
Milenge.
be in touch again.
Sure,
Ciao.
sure.
Bye. Have a nice
Thank you,
evening, guys.
Uran.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Take
everyone,
care.
for being on the session. Thanks.
You too. Take care. Bye
Take
bye.
care. Bye.